guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and I want to kind of revisit this situation I talked about yesterday. I did get some pushback, and I realized I did not explain myself quite well. Now we are going to revisit the Joker graphic novel and some points I talked about yesterday when it comes to women in refrigerators in that situation. Now, a lot of you disagree with me, but I do think Gail had a point, but I also do get the side that, males are used in the same dramatics when it comes to, justification of death and violence and stuff like this. I did mention yesterday that I didn't mind the violence. I don't know if it's maybe a desensitization to it or what, but I've always been extremely real with my channel and open and transparent, so we'll get there. We're gonna talk about everything. This was a stripping joke, and I guess I should have mentioned that yesterday. Harley was a stripper, so this guy stripped, literally, his skin, he stripped. It's a joke. It's the Joker. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about what I really want to, I hit the wrong button. What I really want to talk about here. And we're going to get into the women in refrigerator stuff, right? Everybody's subject that they hate, and I'm going to cringe, but I will, I'll get through it at some point or another. So let's get to this point. I'm going way too far. I gotta find where it happens. Now, this was another thing I wanted to talk about that I mentioned, and some people were like, whoa, the Joker's allowed to have feelings. Here's the thing. One part of this is, yeah, of course he is. At the end of the day, he is a human being. But, to see this side of Joker just put in like this, not really talked about other than, seeing some tears to me, was unnecessary. It could be done correctly. It could have been. It just wasn't in this instance. You can show a human side of Joker, but that doesn't mean that this was the way to do it. And, I said yesterday I give this graphic novel a 9 out of 10, and I stand by that. I think it was very good. But, I talked about the problems I had with it, and I want to clarify once I can actually find the page, because I'm old and I am blind. Shut up. And I want to talk about the women in refrigerator stuff, because I do think that I wasn't clear on my perspective. Now, when people go through life, they get perspective from different angles. They get perspective from life experiences, and that's why I said I dislike this. When I was very young, I was 19 years old, I was dating a man that actually lived kind of about 400 or 500 miles away. I went to see him. I've always been very socially conscious, and I've always been very reserved. I'm very introverted. So I went to see him, and I stayed in a hotel. Gave him the hotel room key, simply because I wanted to have my distance at night. I didn't want to sleep with a man that I didn't know how I felt yet. Well, that wasn't good enough for him, and with the key to the room, I woke up in the middle of the night with him in my bed, and you can imagine where we go from there. That is why I tried to say it yesterday without saying it. I really did. Our life experiences turn us off from stuff like this. You have to understand, the woman who's been through sexual traumatic violence isn't going to want to read this. Not that this is even a similar situation. This is a car. This is a get back bang or whatever you want to say. Like, it turns someone off when they've, been through it, if that makes sense. And I hate to use that as an excuse, because I do feel like all forms of art and storytelling should exist. I never said that I don't think this type of storytelling should exist, because I do. But there's also a way to do it. And I don't feel like Joker was the character to do it. Where's the joke? Where's the punchline, right? In what universe is Joker a rapist? Now, this is an Elseworld story, so it's definitely different. But here's the thing. I feel like this would fit better with Lex. Now, Joker wants chaos. Joker is chaos. Everything is funny. Everything has a punchline. You know, when it comes to Lex, he wants control. He wants to control Superman. He wants to control everyone around him, whether it's Lois or Mercy Graves or something like that. That's his thing. I could honestly see, Lex in a Elseworld story doing that to Lois or something like that. Joker doesn't fit the bill, to me personally. That's different for everyone. But I'm telling you as a woman, and that's kind of was the theme yesterday, where it was women in refrigerators and then women marketing to comics. And, I'm telling you as a woman who's been through something very similar, it makes you want to stop reading. It makes you completely check out. And it's hard to revisit because it's just, there's certain things that trigger certain memories. And if that happens, people aren't going to be interested. And I'm not looking at this from a pity me thing. It's been 10 years, I'm over it. But I'm looking at it from a perspective of storytelling. At what point do you use sexual violence in women in comics to further your plot and narrative? At what point is it okay? And I do think it's a valid question. I know most of us don't like Gail Simone, don't like a lot of what she's done within the industry, but in 1999, when she brought this up, there was a valid point to that. The woman in Refrigerator, when it came to Kyle Rayner, is still very brutal. It is still very brutal. And that's not a rape scene. That's a scene that, is just completely violent that still is disturbing. There are scenes that can be disturbing without sexual violence. There are scenes with sexual violence that can be not disturbing. So it really just depends on your perspective. It really depends on your life experience, at least in my experience, personally. So seeing something like this, I didn't want to have to clarify, but a face like this, I lost it here. Let me get to it. A face like this is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I'm sorry, but it is. It really is hard to look at. So that's all I wanted to clarify. I don't think there was a whole lot other than that. And I do love hearing everyone's opinions. But when we're talking about comic books, bringing up violence on male, I get the point you're getting at. But the point I am getting at that this just isn't, it's unneeded in my opinion. And I absolutely praise Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermay, they did a fantastic job. And I'm not going to keep revisiting the subject because the last time I'm going to talk about it. But, I can't do it. I can't do it in comic books. I love my reading. That's basically all I do. I don't really watch, unless it's YouTube. I love it. But this isn't something I can handle. And I even said yesterday, the death of this older couple, Joker laying in their blood, to me was, more acceptable in a way simply because, to me, that's fantasy. That's the difference. I didn't even realize it before I started this video. That's the difference. I've never been brutally murdered or something like that. That's still fantasy in my head. The other stuff in my head is not fantasy. When you have real life experience to draw from, it gets complicated. So the murder to me is nothing because I've never been through it. Obviously, I'm here talking to you. But the other stuff, it gets really, really complicated. And, you don't need to add that. If there's any other way you can tell a story besides adding a rape in. I seen this in the comments yesterday, and it was the perfect way to say it. If there's anything else you can do besides a rape or sexual violence, do that instead. If that's the only instance then fine. But there is always ways around it. Even so, I'm not going to revisit this again. I just kind of wanted to clarify my point. I didn't realize the disagreement. And I think it does come from male to female. I really do. I think that's the biggest disconnect there. So I just wanted to clarify. Anyways, I will have a regular video up later. I apologize for maybe being a little bit too real. But I don't know how else to be. That's just kind of me. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon and subscribe stars. You guys literally make this channel possible. Huge thank you to Cage the Mick, Robert Mick Twiz, Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris Z, David L, David Rofford, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Mighty Balls, Mike Buckner, Maizen Barbosa, Ruskar, Ryan Deckert, and Doc Holliday. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for all your support. Don't forget on the way out to like as always if you enjoy the content and hit subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.